All right. We are back. Are we back on the side? Sure. So, business acumen. Remember, just going to deal with the three tonight and we are done. So, business acumen, what is it all about, or what are its components? Now, this is where we need to talk about some of the setup that we can expect. And I'm going to explain the highlighted aspects on this, because we're going to use them. And when they are in our papers or question banks, you need to understand what they mean. So you're going to see those letters, Z1, for example, Z2, Z3, the else you'll not see. They're just there to explain. So that's something that I want you to get, because it does affect the level of concern, whether you need to be very concerned or not very concerned about it. So when we talk about business acumen, the way they then described it, they then said that when a business acumen, it is the ability to make quick and or focused strategic decisions and good judgments in a business or business division. Then the competencies under business acumen are: 1, business internal environment; 2, business external environment; and 3, innovation and creativity. I think I should have added the letter for business acumen. So one of the things that they've now done, they've assigned letters to this acumen. So business acumen is assigned letter Z. That is its letter. And what it means that in an assessment, what will then happen as part of the required? Maybe let me quickly jump there. The required will look like something like this. Do you see this? So the required will look something like this. Y1, critical thinking, 1 mark. Y2, integrative thinking, 1 mark. Y3, problem solving, 1 mark, and so on and so on. So business acumen is letter Z. So Z, business acumen, that means they are now looking for those 3 components that I've spoken about for you to demonstrate. Does that make sense? So that's where the letters come in. So in this case, we have 3 components for business acumen: letter Z1, Z2, and Z3. Then next to it, I've added L2, L1, and so on. So what SAICA then is back on, it is the levels of proficiency required. In other words, it's like asking, how deep can you go with this issue here? L1 means that they're going to be very light. Very light. They're not going to be very demanding. They might even give you, it's a couple of things, and you just need to connect the final dots. Like, for instance, when it comes to borrowing cost, what they are saying is that they might even give you how much costs are going to be capitalized as part of specific funding, and which ones are going to be capitalized as part of general funding. And you might be asked to do journals, and you just need to capitalize those costs or know which costs not to capitalize, and that's it. Then there's level 2. Level 2, we are saying we are in the middle there. But for me, the middle is very dangerous because it's in the middle of it can be complex or it cannot be complex. But the judgment is left on you to say, when you say it can be somewhere in there, what is in there? Because 3, it's clear, everything, it's all game. Excuse me. So if they give you calculation, discuss in one question relating to this particular matter, you go all out. But here, when it's level 2, you are wondering that, can they say, evaluate this decision and expect me just on that term to do some calculation and also discuss? For level 3, that's clear, but is that enough for level 2 or not? So that's how these 3 things work. So whenever you see level 1, don't worry too much about it. Level 2, be somewhat worried. Then level 3, be very much concerned. It should be important to you because it is definitely important to cycle. So this is how this then looks like. So what does that mean, therefore, in the context of business acumen? So they're saying that you need to be able to bring the external environment when you are responding to the task, because it's level 2. You need to be able to bring external internal environment when you are responding. Then what do you mean? They then gave us some guidance to say that when we talk about internal, we are talking about the internal business operations that affect our decision-making processes. External, talking about the external environment, where we are now thinking about the likes of Pestel as well as Porters in our decision-making process. So for me, when I say level 2, because we are not so sure, I will then say take it as important as level 3. Take it as important as level 3. But innovation and creativity, because here it's like they're saying recognize that in some cases, some companies have just been brilliant in what they do and managed to find an opportunity where we didn't think there was any. Think about the likes of Airbnb, the likes of Uber. Those are some of the companies that have been very, very creative. So as a result, what we are now saying is what? We are saying that because that requires probably some case studies where we talk about, say, a problem statement, break it down. Yes, innovation and creativity might not necessarily feature as much. It might be a mark where someone might need to recommend a decision, an option that is just quite brilliant, talking about new concepts and so on. But because this is an exam, it could be that you're talking to someone who doesn't see it. So that's why it's level 1. It's so difficult to what? To then expect you to go into quite a lot of detail. But does that make sense on these letters and how you're going to see it in an assessment? Tricks? Hi. Hi, mic is open, Tricks. Can go for it.
Oh, no, I
Sure.
think it was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
No
it's okay.
worries. Sure. Right. So we've got what? We've got this picture right here. And as I've shown you, the glimpse of how it will then be explored. And from a starting perspective, our starting point is this picture right here. So this is the value creation process. This is the value creation process. So the value creation process, we do spend a lot of time on it in our strategy discussions. So I don't want to then spend a lot of time here, but I just want to explain, therefore, how you will then be expected to demonstrate business acumen in this particular context. So you'll be expected to understand business acumen by understanding the different capitals, how they interact with each other, how they're then processed as part of the transformation journey. Then in the middle, as you can see, we've got inputs, business activities, outputs, as well as outcomes. So that is how we think about it. External environment, that's where we now are saying that it is overarching every decision-making process that we've got. And as a result, we need to be mindful of it. Like, for instance, there are some companies that cannot ignore what the government is saying, because such decisions or such impact of policies introduced could harm their business. So from a business acumen, we will want you to bring those ideas that affects the creation of value over time due to external environment and internal environment. This is where we now talk about the inputs, the outputs, the business activities. So there are risks that arise from a given level of activities. And as I'm saying, we do unpack this even much more in our business strategy discussion. Then when it comes to the framework, these are some of the key frameworks that you can expect when you unpack business acumen. Because remember, it's two things, therefore, that we need to focus on: internal environment and external. Internal, we are mostly sitting with the 6 capitals, whereas external, there's 2: general competitive environment and sector competitive environment. So sector, we look at the porters because it will tell us who our competitors are, who our customers are, suppliers and substitute. So that is porters. Then pastel, on the other hand, is the general competitive environment, to say, from a country's perspective, where or what is, or how do you plan to generate value from them? So this will then be government policies, technological factors, social and demographic factors, economic factors, environmental factors, legislation, and so on. So these are then the frameworks that we use in order to demonstrate our business acumen. So it's going to be very important as you go through this section to remember and understand how you're going to use these frameworks. And that is what business acumen is all about. So think business internal and think business external environment. Any questions here? Are we clear when we talk about business acumen, how we are going to be thinking about this? All good. So 2 things, because the other one, it's what is very light to remember. So what are the 6 capitals? So the 6 capitals are these ones, the ones in this value creation process. So financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social and relationship, natural. So those are those capitals, and they affect the internal business environment. Got it? Great. Right. Yes. Right. If we can stop the recording here so that we'll record. So let me stop. You can record again, Vanessa.